The Trigger Spoon Jr., big enough to draw strikes from trophy trout, small enough to round up a limit of pan-sized fryers, and the perfect spoon to put on the end of your line when the trolling gets tough. Pick up your kit of Trigger Spoon Juniors today at fishhuntshoot.com. Howdy guys, Kellogg here. I get a lot of questions here on the channel. Some of them are purely informational. I love answering them, but they don't really strike a nerve. It's a question like, what pound test leader material should I use? Well, I tell them what I think and I answer the question, and hopefully it helps those guys catch more and bigger fish, and I go on with my day. And there's other questions that go a little bit deeper, and some of those questions, they strike a nerve. And I got a question like that this week, and I am going to answer it right here. This is definitely going to be a Kellogg Unfiltered video. I'm not going to talk about fishing. I'm going to talk about something a little bit deeper than that. Quick background. I've introduced a bunch of fans of the channel to the Audible app, the Audible bookstore. It's if you're unfamiliar, it's audio books. They have a massive library. It's a monthly subscription kind of deal, and you can listen to books through your phone because we're super busy these days, okay? I was a reader back in the day. I don't have 2 hours to sit in my recliner and read a book now. I'm going back and forth from my fishing camp. I'm rigging tackle. I'm weed whacking my yard. I'm cutting down trees. I'm trying to do cardio. I'm trying to get back in shape. All these things are going on, so I need to get in my reading while I'm doing something else, and Audible allows me to do that. And I just had a discussion with my wife. She says, well, that's not as good as reading. Well, actually, the research indicates that comprehension and the remembering information is just as good when you're listening as when you're reading. So there, take that. Anyway, I'm happy to report that I've got several people here on the channel that are engaging in Audible. I might have just said that, but anyway, I've got several people here that are engaged in Audible. I've got Ricky 24. He's a big burly dude, big old biceps. He drives a truck, but he's out there listening to high-end literature now on his Audible app. The question I just got is from a guy named Ryan Lopez, and this was his question. He asked me who is the best American author, and he offered up that he thought it was John Steinbeck, and he threw out some reasons why. And man, I respect John Steinbeck. He's a giant. He's a genius. But I gotta say, for me, and this is a personal deal, for me, the best American author is Hemingway. Hemingway, hands down, it's Hemingway. And I think why this struck a nerve is Hemingway is all about what it means to be a man, okay? And I think, and this isn't a political discussion, I think we're lacking a little bit of that with our current kind of generations. I'm not saying there's not real men that are young. There absolutely are. But I think that what is kind of being taught in society, a lot of it is very good, but we've cut out a lot of those rites of passage, the grittier stuff that really is, what it is to be a man. And when I read Hemingway, the underlying current of the stories really touches me. And if you've never read Hemingway, I'll use this as an example. If you enjoy Rocky movies, and I'm not talking about the superficial storyline, if you tap in, if you're a dude and you tap in to the undercurrent of what's going on there, a man confronting a challenge and confronting his own self-doubt, you're going to love Hemingway, because that's what Hemingway books are all about, okay? And I got a bunch of notes here because I was just going crazy on this question this morning. So if you've never read Hemingway and you're a dude, I would encourage you to do it, because Hemingway is all about self-questioning. He wants to live in a black and white world, good and bad, success and failure. He wants to live in a world where there's round holes and square holes. But what he consistently finds is that, yes, there's round holes, there's good, and there's square holes, there's bad, but most people, including him, are hexagon shaped, and they don't fit into either hole all the time. And that's a conundrum for him. And that was a lifelong conundrum for him, okay? His life was all about challenging himself, okay? And challenging the self-doubt that goes with those challenges, okay? If you're not confronting challenges and you're not confronting your own frailty and weakness and you're lying to yourself, you're not living a pinnacle, apex type life. I'll give you a quick example. There's some people that get it and there's some people that don't. When I'm gearing up to go on a backpacking trip, and Hemingway would get this, and Rocky Balboa would get this. Hemingway spent a lot of time in the woods hunting. When I'm gearing up for a backpacking trip, an extended backcountry hunt, oftentimes people will say, well, have a good time. I know right then, and I'll say, oh, thank you, whatever. They don't get it. They don't understand what it's about, because what you're hunting out there is yourself. I'm not talking about driving around road hunting. That's lazy. Whatever. Maybe you're a road hunter. That's terrific. But driving around with a 30-06 in your lap and an F-250 drinking a beer, it's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about going out into the woods with your belongings on your back and staying there for an extended period of time and immersing yourself in your prey's environment. What you're hunting out there is yourself. You're confronting the environment. You're confronting the animal you're hunting with the advantage tilted to them because you're in their house. You're living by their rules. You're confronting fear. You're confronting the physicality of the hunt. The deer, he has high-tech clothing he wears. You don't. You need to carry yours. If you got the wrong clothing and you get wet and you get caught out in the cold, you could die. Okay? The deer, he could drink out of a pool of polluted water and he's just fine. You need to have the capacity to purify your water because you could get parasites and end up in the hospital if you don't. Okay? So hunting like that is all about overcoming. It's about overcoming fear and pain and the challenge, and taking the animal, that's a very small part of it, and that in itself is a challenge. Not taking the animal, you get yourself in a position, you harvest the animal, now what are you going to do? Now you've got to carry it out on your back. More pain, more challenge, more mental checklist of what am I going to do with this animal now? How am I going to get it out without it spoiling? How am I going to care for it? Okay, so it's all about confronting all of these issues and all of the self-doubt that goes with those issues. And I can tell you, when you accomplish it and you get back and it's done and you've taken a big trophy class buck and you've made it happen and you've been alone for 9 days, the feeling of satisfaction and self-empowerment is absolutely through the roof, okay? I have a member of my family. I'm not going to name names. He used to be an avid hunter. After my last backpack hunt, he reached out to me and he says, well, I'd like to do that. And the term he used, I'd like to have done that 100 pounds ago. And man, when I hear that, I hear opportunity and opportunity lost. And what I would say, and this is fairly anonymous because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but what the little voice in my mind says is this is an opportunity for you to get off your ass, get off the couch, drop 100 pounds. I've done it. Feel the satisfaction of doing that, and then put that new body to the test and go out there and harvest that deer or not, and come back and say to yourself, holy mackerel, I've got some grit. I've got some get up and go. I can do things. I'm empowered. I can take on a challenge. I can overcome just about anything because I've lost 100 pounds and spent 9 days in the woods with all my possessions on my back. And maybe, just maybe, you've packed out a deer on your back to culminate the experience. But he chose not to do that. And that's sad to me because he's not living his life at the top end, okay? He's giving himself excuses of why he's not doing it. But at the end of the day, and we all know this, and in the movies, Rocky knows this, you can't lie to yourself. You know what you're capable of, and if you're not pushing those limits, you're accepting second best. And when you go to bed at night, and I suspect when you're on your deathbed, those are not comforting truths or facts or whatever you want to say about them. So getting back to reading, that's the nerve that Hemingway touches for me. He was always striving for some level of perfection that he never achieved, but he was always striving for it. His characters were always striving for it. And the world, I mean, let's face it, it can be a dark, hard, cynical place. I mean, Hemingway was in several wars. He was in Africa. He was out there confronting large animals that can kill you. He did go to sea. He did catch huge fish. You know, catching a bluegill at the pond or a trout out in a kayak, that's one thing. When you're locked up with a tuna or something that can really fight, and you fight those fish for 60, 90 minutes, it's a test. It's a test of your body, but it's a test more of your brain. It's I'm not going to give up. No matter how bad my body hurts, I'm going to beat this fish. Hemingway got it. Men, you're better off if you confront these challenges and find out what you're really made of, okay? That's the Hemingway philosophy. I've applied that philosophy to my own life. If you want to know more about that sort of thing, I strongly encourage you to pick up some Hemingway books, check them out, read them, weigh what it says, think about it, think about the undercurrent, think about what's really going on in these, apex macho scenes, the bullfighting, the big game fishing, the big game hunting, stuff like that. The constant, tug of war between challenge and self-doubt. And that's really what defines a man, and not to other people. That doesn't really matter. It's how you define yourself to yourself. When you go backpack hunting, you're hunting yourself. You're pitting yourself against challenges, and you're seeing how you measure up, not just physically, but mentally. How far can I push myself mentally? How far can I go? What are my boundaries? Anyway, that's my take on Hemingway. I know I kind of went off here, and I could continue going on and on and on and on and on and on and on. But if you're a dude, if you're out of your adolescence, which I think probably ends around 30 for a lot of us, I strongly encourage you to crack open some Hemingway books and see what he's got to say about things. I think it's kind of eye-opening. Open your mind. If you enjoy Rocky movies, you're going to enjoy Hemingway. I'm out of here for now. I'm Kellogg. That's my little rant for today. This is going to be a Sunday morning video, so I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, if you're looking for fishing tackle, go on over to fishuntShoot.com. We've got all kinds of gear, spoons, plastics, flies, all that and more. We've got what you need to get out on the water and catch more and bigger fish. Please hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you next time right here on YouTube. I'm Kellogg, and you have a great day.